Hello and welcome to Freedom Through Astrology, where we're giving you the keys. Take who knows what. Problems with cats and Zoom update not working well today. This is freedomthroughastrology.com. I'm your astrologer. My name is Donald Patak. There's my contact information, standard YouTube copyright, and no, my content may not be used to train AI and its LLMs unless I'm getting paid generously. Keys to the reading, part one, because I do read astrology differently. First of all, I read what's called constellation-based astrology. You'll also hear it called true sidereal astrology. It's astrology by the visible sky or astrology by astronomy. In ancient times, astrologers were astronomers. And so tropical astrology fixed the signs to seasons. Well, the sky hasn't looked like that since Roman times. We have what's called precession of the equinox. The signs move through the sky very slowly. So if you're a first-time watcher, you're gonna hear planets being different constellations than what a tropical astrologer is gonna say. That's where an astronomer is more likely to see them. I do use with the visible sky 13 signs because between Scorpio and Sagittarius is another sign called a fucus. It's the sign of the wounded healer, the symbols of a person holding a snake by the head and the tail. In ancient times, a snake symbolized knowledge, and the mythos are that either a fucus, Asclepius, different mythos, was gaining knowledge to learn how to heal themselves so they can heal others with similar wounds. So it's the sign of the wounded healer. And in using the visible sky, I use the natural size of the constellations. There are astrologers who want to make each constellation 30 degrees. It ain't like that. Virgo is huge at just under 50 degrees. Aries, Cancer, Libra, Scorpio, Fucus, individually, they're less than 25 degrees apiece. Not a good idea, Cat. So all the constellations are different sizes. I respect that and I follow that. I use what are called astrological midpoints as well because the IAU boundaries are arbitrarily drawn. Athan Shimenti noticed that as he was zooming in on the IAU boundaries and found the stars of Scorpio in the constellation of Fucus, not where they belong. And he noticed this in other constellations as well. So we looked at the zodiac belt, last bright star of one constellation, first bright star of the next constellation. What's the halfway point? And run with it. I like it. I think it's more accurate. Keys to the reading, part two. In my interpretation, I use what's called evolutionary astrology. These transits are lessons to learn. It's open for you and how you want to interpret them and receive the information and what you do with it. You have freedom of choice. So you can opt for an ideal outcome or a more ideal outcome, or you can work in the shadows. Kind of like my cat Shadow, who's been very grumpy and bad as of late. So you do have that freedom of choice. I honor that and I respect that. This is the weekly edition. So these are universal lessons. So do have some compassion on your fellow ground pounders, earth travelers. I really got to stop saying that. Dates are based on the Eastern US time zone, as I do live outside of Buffalo, New York. I'm operating within 1 degree of exact. I could go wider than that, but I would get overwhelmed. You'd get lost. So what this is we're looking at when the experience is going to be most intense. And the software that I'm using is Capricorn by Prometheus. ISAA is working with the developer to get that re-released, and we're shooting for soon. What is that? So do expect when that's available, I'll let you know. It's going to be an awesome experience getting the software updated. And these are the weekly transits for the week of March 30th through April 5th, 2026. We have the sun in Pisces, self-enlightenment or self-transcendence, looking to find your own inspiration. The moon is steady this week. It starts in Leo. We have a long transit in Virgo, and we really don't get a sign change. I think from Saturday and Sunday, we finally get the Libra Scorpio transits, which are much faster. So it's not as active as it really may sound. We do have the full moon in Virgo on April Fool's Day, and that'll be at 2025 Eastern Time or 8:25 p.m. So we'll be able to see a nice, glorious full moon this April 1st. Our active planet for this week is Venus. Focus on relationships, creativity, and some of the literature is even saying rest, recreation, having fun. So do expect a little focus on that. And we do have a sign change this week with Venus entering Aries. So developing some courage in those areas. We are finishing up a long transit, or working towards the end more appropriately. Saturn is sextiling Pluto. And we have no retrograde planets this week. We have finished with our little intense retrograde season. Let's go to our next. Here we go. Get the pen going. And what we will start with the moon is, like I said, we start with it in Leo. Tuesday morning, we go into Virgo. And it's not until Saturday morning that we get into Libra. And then we get that late Sunday or later in the day, I think it's more in the evening, actually, transit into Scorpio. So as you can see, the moon is actually very steady this week. So look for some emotional stability. And we do have that full moon on Wednesday evening, kind of in the middle of the week there-ish. Actually, Thursday's the middle of the week in this calendar. Oh, well. And that'll be Wednesday nights. That's the moon in Leo opposite the sun in Pisces. So that's what that'll be. Not the correct way it's going to look, but close enough for government work. Otherwise, when we're looking at this chart, the dotted line are our transits from last week. As you can see, we still have that Saturn-Pluto transit finishing up. And here we have our wonderful Venus transits. And Venus is working with the nodes of the moon and Pluto. In addition, on Tuesday, we have the Venus transiting into Aries. So really the story of the week is Venus. Dr. Danny's got to love this week. Other two transits we do have Mercury working with Jupiter and the Sun working with Jupiter as well. So really, again, an outer planet that's getting played with. Jupiter is one. There we go. Pluto's the other. But like the planets that are really doing the transiting, it's a very much Venus week. We do have the nodes of the moon being activated this week with Venus, so a lot there. And then as we look, we really don't have anything starting until Thursday. I don't even know when Easter is this year. I think this is next week is the beginning of the week of the Passion. Recovering Catholic, never mind. So really it picks up on Thursday. We have a couple of transits there. Friday, we're just dealing with some exacts. Saturday is the busy day of the week with the moon entering Libra, and then Venus with the nodes, and then the sun squaring Jupiter. So really the busy day of the week is Saturday. If you're going to really feel a little bit of intensity, there it is. Here are all drawings. Close the doodle tool. And here we go with just an overview of the different transits that we'll be facing this week. From way back in mid-March-ish, we have Saturn in Pisces, sextiling Pluto in Capricorn. Saturn in Pisces, spiritual maturity, spiritual development, creates an interest in healing the deep, doing the work of healing the deep wounds and transformation. That's really the quick and dirty of that transit. So as growing, your spiritual growth is helping you do the work of the hard work of change, or not the hard work of change, but doing the work of change creates an interest in that change. The shadow here is spiritual cynicism. Doing anything you can and living in this ill-gotten fantasy, and that creates a sense of nervousness. And that the shadow of Pluto in Capricorn, it's cynicism, nihilism. I mean, this is just a really dark transit. It's full of cynicism and nihilism. I could use those words to describe Saturn as well. But it's deep cynicism, nihilism that leads to deep wounding, isolation, and loneliness. So this dark attitude just fuels loneliness. And that should be over. My current projection is April 6th. We'll have that updated next week. And from Saturday, we have the moon in Leo. Learning self-expression, learning how to express your emotions, expressing what you're feeling, and also the ability to be seen appropriately and when you're doing it. The shadow here is being overly dramatic, that drama king, drama queen. Hey, everybody, look at me. Excuse me, I'm over here. It's just over-the-top behavior that really turns people off. The other side of the shadow here, though, is the cowardly lion that doesn't want to be seen. You know, don't look at me. Let me hide away and leave me alone. Everybody sees either which way as pointless drama. And we start with Monday. Take a breath. Remember to exhale, repeat. No transits. Begin to the big five anyways. Beginning on Monday. Tuesday, we do start with the moon entering Virgo. This is a time for emotional development, and Virgo is looking to see how can you improve and get better. The moon, emotional. So this is developing, I would say, emotional intelligence and becoming more emotionally skilled. Where do you need to develop this? How can you develop it? That was a weird pop-up on my phone. So yeah, so it's ideally becoming more emotionally skilled, potentially more emotionally sensitive, I would think. And look for teachers who can help you. Find out who is skilled and work with them. Shadow of this is falling into endless self-criticism because the shadow of Virgo is perfectionism, which is an unachievable state in this world. And the moon gets moody, so you're feeling like you can't succeed. You're bound for failure. You're holding yourself up to unrealistic expectations, which leads to being overwhelmed and inactivity. And instead of making advances, you fall behind. And also on Tuesday, Venus enters Aries. So Venus, relationships, creativity, like you said, having fun. And in Aries, having courage. So this is having courage in your relationships, to assert yourself, expect opportunities, to be open and honest with others, you know? Hold on a second. And also be willing to take risks with others. And I would say risks with your creativity as well. You know, try something new, you know? And in with Venus being on rest and recreation, you know, have the strength to take, you know, the courage to take a break when you need to. You know, in modern day, the idea of taking a break is frowned on. It's like, well, I'm taking a working coffee break. No, take the break. You know, have the courage to take the break and step away from the desk. You'd be surprised what happens. The shadow, Venus can be slick, manipulative, lazy, and in Aries, it steps into fear. And that can come across as anger, lashing out at your relationships, lashing out at other people. It can come across as cowardice, giving in to others unnecessarily. With creativity, you're not willing to take the risk, just keep doing the same thing. And rest, you know, not even trying, don't even go there. It's a mess. You know, why stay home and sleep when you can go out to a bar, drink all night, and smoke cigarettes, and then be wiped out the next day? Bad example, it could happen. But that's Venus in Aries. Ideally, you're learning to have courage in your relationships and search your relationships and your boundaries. Wednesday, we have the full moon in Virgo, the sun in Pisces. You're seeking enlightenment, inspiration, and it's opposite, which can be a time of balance or reflection. And I'm going to use reflection here. When I was writing my notes out, reflection came to me more easily. And with the moon in Virgo, we're talking about emotional intelligence. And what I had written here was balance, as the sun in Pisces, you're learning to be present and in the moment and becoming more aware. And you're reflecting on what? Your emotional intelligence, reflecting on where you need to improve and how you can improve. And you're taking the time to balance that work on getting better and being present. It's possible to get pulled out of balance. That's the shadows being pulled out of balance. But what did I have here? Self-awareness can help you know what skills you could use improvement and how. So that's the ideal. You're being present, you're being aware. Oh, that was an insensitive thing for me to say. This is how I can do better next time. So you're learning to be present, aware, and reflecting on your emotional skills. The shadow here, this is where it gets to be out of balance and a tug of war. If you're out of balance with the sun in Pisces, you're lost in some fantasy. You're so heavenly minded, you're of no earthly good. And if you're out of balance on the side of Virgo, you're so focused on having to do and planning and all that. What did I have? This being too focused on improvement can leave you at a loss for the inspiration that makes the change possible. You can have 10,000 pages of plans and no energy and no inspiration to carry it out. Shadow, get back here now. She's going after the other cats. Sorry about that. She was never like this before. I don't know why. So Thursday, April 2nd, Mercury in Aquarius, trining Jupiter in Gemini. Mercury in Aquarius, independent thinking, independent learning. What interests you? Why? Go for it. Be independent. Be open-minded. And this is supporting the opportunity to learn and developing self-confidence in your ability to learn, self-confidence in your ability to communicate. And it's that when you're learning what you want to learn, that's what helps to create the meaningful victories in those areas. And it helps you to value learning as well. The shadow, Mercury can get distracted, scatter-minded, but in Aquarius, it's either acting out to get a reaction from people or it's selling out to fit in. And instead of supporting learning and the opportunity to learn, it creates a crisis of confidence. Either overconfident, you know it all, you can't learn anything, or underconfident, can't learn it, can't master it, so why bother trying? And that fuels superficial learning or shallow communication at best. It's supporting failure, and it supports that, like I said, that crisis of confidence becomes a point of failure. We can't tell if that's dusk or dawn crying. And on Thursday, we have another Venus transit. Venus in Aries squaring Pluto in Capricorn. Venus in Aries, like I said, the courage in your relationships, creativities, or willingness to take a break. A square ideally is a challenge that strengthens you. And as you're learning how to that courage and assertiveness, this is strengthening your ability to transform, heal, transform, and become better and become more skilled in these areas. And what else did I have? Yeah, this helps you face your unconsciousness or your unconscious fears, transform, heal deep inner wounds. And this is strengthening your ability to grow and change. The shadow here, this is that slick and manipulativeness that's rooted in fears, and that can be either anger, it can be cowardice. The square becomes a stumbling block that leads, and this fuels cynicism, it fuels nihilism, and in Capricorn, that leads to isolation and loneliness. It can also be a bit of a control freak, slick and manipulative control freak. Yeah, like you need that. And it just fuels a disaster, in my opinion. Friday, take a break. Remember to exhale, reprieve. Take a breath. Inhale, exhale, repeat. On Saturday, and this is the busy day of the week. We got a lot going on Saturday. First of all, the moon enters Libra, so do learn how to take the breaks when you need them. An emotional break as well. I'll learn well how to calm down and when, balance self-care and the care of others. Take the opportunity to create a sense of inner ease. They can handle that paradoxes and all the stresses in life and all the ups and downs. Like I said, know when to take a break and how, and what can rejuvenate you. The shadow here is falling into indecision, getting pulled in different directions, and that just stresses, that leads to greater stress. We have Venus in Aries sextiling the North Node in Aquarius. And let me get my doodle tool here. So we're focusing on this right here. This is the first Venus transit for today. So Venus in Aries, like I said, this is that courage and assertiveness in relationship, or courage and creativity. And the North Node in Aquarius. The North Node is your destiny. So the key here is to understand the North Node in your natal sign, on your natal chart. Where is it in your natal chart? In Aquarius, you're learning to make that authentic to yourself, your life's purpose, your life's goal. How do you make that authentic and unique to you? And here is you're learning to stand up for yourself in your relationships, or taking those creative risks. This is creating an interest in that destiny, and helps to create interest in that destiny and make it more authentic, more unique to yourself. And it can also help you become a little bit more independent in that as well. The shadow here, again, falling in Venus, slick, manipulative, motivated by what? Fear. And that's anger or cowardice. That becomes the sextile becomes a sense of nervousness. And the North Node is trying just to get through it. It's selling itself out to others, trying to either fit in or act out to get a reaction. So that fear is fueling fake, literally. Oops. Let me clean. Clear all drawings. Close. Next. And we have a little brighter break here with the Sun in Pisces squaring Jupiter in Gemini. Sun in Pisces, you're learning self, I say self-transcendence, but to understand yourself and your life from a higher perspective. This can be your own personal spiritual journey as well, especially when it's with Neptune conjunct, which happened a long time ago. But you're learning to be aware of yourself, aware of your life, seeing things and understanding it from a higher perspective. A square, like I said, is a stepping stone, something that's designed to strengthen you. And that challenge is creating for the opportunity to learn and reach your higher potential. Self-awareness fuels self-confidence in your ability to learn and your ability to communicate. The shadow here is falling into some fantasy, illusion, self-delusion, and that creates a stumbling block. The square becomes a stumbling block that undermines your self-confidence, undermines your ability to learn, undermines your ability to communicate, and it can undermine that all that with self-confidence and the hold on. Yeah, I have my notes here say collapsing the false ego, living in the fantasy, fuels a crisis that undermines self-confidence or your self-image. And it can result in distraction or an unwillingness to commit. So you're really undermining and weakening yourself here. And the other transit from Saturday is we have Venus trining, whoops, little bump there on my mouse pad. Venus trining the South Node. As you're having the courage to stand up in your relationship, stand up for your creativity, or take risk in your creativity. Trine is a support. It helps you to become more aware of the South Node in Leo. The South Node, in a positive sense, helps you to understand how you undermine yourself. And in Leo, how are you undermining yourself with pointless drama? How are you undermining yourself by being a drama king or a drama queen? And as you become aware of that, oh, wow, you have the courage to change your relationships and become a better person. So this really, in a way, This is a support that helps you improve your ability in your relationships, and having the courage to, to see that is a great thing. Also in the arts, the courage to try something new. This is something different. Think of Picasso. Look at what Picasso started out as. He was anybody and everybody else. And he had that blue period, or his color, all the different colors, where he did everything in one color or something weird like that. And then he fell into Cubism, or developed Cubism, and went into that school. And just look at all the different ways he changed. It's kind of an idea here with the arts. Taking risks and being willing to change rather than staying stuck in the past, doing the same thing over and over again. The shadow here is falling into those fear relationships, being slick and manipulative, and that's fueled by fear, supports the pointless drama of the past, and it reinforces it. And it just drags you back down into it. And let me clear this out. Clear, close. Anything else I want to say? So, yeah. So, as you can see, yeah. Hold on a second. Don't want to bite my tongue. There he goes. All right. So as Venus develops courage in relationships, it helps to support becoming more authentic and independent in your personal destiny, or your purpose in life, or why you're here. And it helps to support an awareness of how you hold yourself down and back with pointless drama. The shadow, though, is falling into fear, which fuels being slick and manipulative or lazy. This creates nervousness in your life's mission, where you're just denying it and just going for the easy way out. And it leads to pointless drama, which kind of ruins everything. There we go. And on Sunday, finally, we have the moon entering Scorpio. Open up your own deep truths and learn how to face them, and face your deeper feelings as well. Be willing to go beyond superficial and dig deeper. Life can appear to be a little bit more intense, and powerful moods can arise. Face them in order to learn from them. So this is emotional depth. You're exploring your emotional depth and becoming more aware of it, and facing your own deep truths. The shadow here is shadow of the moon is falling into a foul mood, and in Scorpio, do I really need to go into the shadow of Scorpio? Can be way too intense, way too moody, way too dark. It's ruled by both Mars and Pluto, so it can be very angry, very violent, very nihilistic, etc. But it can be very dark, and so be careful of falling into a sour mood, complicating situations unnecessarily, and losing perspective. And this can leave you feeling emotionally wounded and emotionally drained. So there you go. There's your that's your reading for the week. Hold on a second. I am on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, where I do post daily, on Facebook and Instagram and Digital Soul Space. I do post daily deep dives where I do explore these a little bit deeper. These three guys here, or these three companies, I should say, are making billions of dollars off your data. Digital Soul Space is hosted on the Mighty Networks, which says your data is your data, and you have a right to control how it gets used. And I liken it to the spiritual safe spot on the internet, or the spiritual safe space on the internet. I do astrology, but we got astrology, we have tarot, we have people who practice mediumship, a wide variety of spiritual practices. What else is on there? Different oracle cards, you name it, it's on there some way, shape, manner, or form. And different challenges as well, that help you grow spiritually. There's a lot of different things on there for great moderators to keep it to being a troll-free zone. There's a free version, there's a paid version. Free version, for a month, you get full access, and then you get limited access. But with the paid version, you get full access to the site. All the money that's used on the paid version goes to maintain and pay for the hosting of the site and everything that's on there. And again, the more people that join, the lower that price drops. So it's a great place to be. I enjoy being on there. I do offer readings in packages. If you want to see how your chart changes from tropical to true sidereal astrology, order the quick six key anchor points on your chart that help you to understand and give you a solid foundation. I do birth chart or natal chart readings, and in evolutionary astrology, this is your birth contract. It's not who you are, it's who you came to become. So, this is the end goal. You came here to learn these lessons. I can spell that out. Karmic or past life reading. There's some people who believe in reincarnation. Well, in the past life, you had some bad karma show up. You're re-experiencing it in this life so that you can heal it and release it. And I can help you understand what that karma is and then how you can release it. If you're a one and done, it's a special lesson that you came here to learn. I'll let you know what the lesson is and how you can heal it. I do horoscopes. Hey, it's why you're watching the video. I do 1 year, any 12 months in a row, any 3 months in a row, or any 1 month. And for that 1 month, it can be new moon to new moon, or first of the month to the end of the month, or any 30 odd days in a row. And then I do offer packages that combine different readings together for you. I do a wide variety of different readings. So thank you very much. Like, follow, share if you enjoy this. If you go on my website, you get a pop-up for a newsletter. All you need is an email. It's a once-a-week newsletter that gives you a summary of the week and a personal other insights that I have that I don't normally share in the video. But they may come in a version of them may come out in the usually it's related to an important weekly transit that I explore much, much deeper than I do in my daily deep dives or other insights that I gain. So do sign up for that newsletter. Like, follow, share. Remember, in the visible sky, your life changes. Thank you very much. Have yourself the best week possible. And hopefully I survive Shadow and her moods.